Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Canadian Shield, your source of trusted analysis. My name is Sterling. I'm your host. There was an interaction between Larry Brock and MP Virani in the House of Commons over the rising crime rate, the shocking statistics that have shot through the roof under the stewardship of the Liberal Party. And of course, the Liberals, they just can't accept responsibility for any of their actions. It's never their problem, and this was no different, despite the fact that this guy is in one breath telling you that he's solving the problem. In the other hand, he's telling you it's not his jurisdiction. It's ridiculous. The contrast is absurd. And unfortunately for him, some of us are paying attention to what's being said. And I encourage more of us to be paying attention. Before I get into it, I would encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share this channel with all of your socials. The Liberal Party does not like anyone on YouTube or Twitter or any of the channels that don't agree with them, and they actively pursue turning us down in the algorithm. So giving this a like, giving it a comment, that not only shows the Liberal Party that you don't agree with their policies and their procedures, it shows YouTube that there's a market for people who are speaking common sense. Now, Brock is driven. He likes to have a nice, safe culture. I think that I agree with him on that. Their safety is probably one of the biggest reasons that we have government, right? So I'll let you hear the interaction, and then I'll show you where the misinformation comes in.
After 9 years of NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and now time is up. Canadians are feeling more unsafe than ever. Violent crime up 50%, sex assaults up 75%, car theft 46%, and shockingly violent gun crime over 100%. Will the Liberals finally join Conservatives in protecting Canadians and demanding jail, not bail, for repeat violent offenders?
Mr. Speaker, my fundamental job is to keep Canadians safe. Here's what we've been doing in the last 12 months. We've increased...
Colleagues, I would appreciate being able to hear the honourable member's response. The Honourable Minister of Justice and Attorney General for Canada, from the top, please.
Mr. Speaker, my fundamental job is to keep Canadians safe. Here's what I've been doing the last 12 months. I proposed new offences for money laundering. The Conservatives voted against. I've increased the penalties for violent carjackings. The Conservatives voted against. I and my colleague, the Minister of Public Safety, have put $160 million to aid the CBSA and law enforcement in detecting and stopping car thefts. Car thefts are down 17% over the last 6 months compared to last year. There's still more work to do. We're going to continue to do that work. While the Conservatives shout slogans, we are going to keep Canadians safe.
Simple fact is criminals have nothing to fear under the NDP Liberal legislation. Bill C-48 has done nothing to stop the crime in our communities. Instead of listening to premiers and law enforcement who have called for bail reform, the Justice Minister pretends that C-48 is a success. Mr. Speaker, it's an abject failure. When will the minister stop protecting criminals, start standing up for victims by reversing their catch and release policies?
I spent the summer listening to victims, and what they talk to me about is intelligent policies and approaches to crime. What we did is pass in this chamber, thankfully with unanimous support, bail reform. The job is now on the provinces to ensure that bail reform bears fruit. What am I talking about, Mr. Speaker? The people that decide bail decisions are justices of the peace and primarily provincial court judges appointed at the provincial level. The people that appeal bail decisions, such as my colleague in his former capacity, are provincial crown attorneys who are under the direction of provincial premiers and provincial attorneys general. When there's not enough jail space to keep people in jail who don't deserve bail, that's a provincial responsibility.
That entire segment was wrong. It's just not true. Anybody who's ever been into a court in Canada knows that it's not. We don't live in the United States where state has their own rules and their own mandates. We live in Canada where we have one body of law that passes from coast to coast to coast. What's illegal in New Brunswick is also illegal in Newfoundland, illegal in Nunavut. It's illegal in British Columbia. It's not like the United States of America. It is British common law, and it's well established. It's so established, in fact, that it's not called the prosecutor. The body that goes in front of the judge is called the Crown Prosecutor, the federal prosecutor. They represent the Crown. They represent the body of laws that are passed federally. Now you can tell yourself that they're appointed by the premier, but really they're following bodies of laws that are enacted by the federal government. It's odd that in one sentence he would say that he enacted laws and he made changes, and then in the very next sentence he'd say, no, it's not my fault. We were listening to people. Can you imagine that guy listening to you when you don't agree with him? Can you imagine any Liberal MP? Can you show me any example of them anywhere where the people disagree with them and they don't start screaming at the top of their lungs? The body language on that guy. I mean, he is clearly aggressive, hostile, and taking it personally. Well, people that are victims of violent crime, people that are victims of the crime wave that you've unleashed, and as a result of the crime wave you've unleashed, the insurance payments that you've unleashed, imagine the poor 17-year-old is just trying to get a car on the road and got to pay 5 times what was paid 10 years ago because of the policies and the crime committed under the watch of this justice minister. He told you a blatant misinformation. It was misdirection. It's not the Crown. The Crown is not a body of the province. And so when they come in front of the judge, they say the federal law states this. Bill such and such states this. Yeah, there are provincial and there are municipal laws, but they don't supersede the federal government. They don't supersede the legislation enacted in the House of Commons. If they did, then we could simply ignore all of the bills that the Liberal government puts forward, including C-48. However, we can't do that because when the Crown prosecutor or the defense attorney comes into the courtroom for the individual that's been charged with whatever crime, the body of legislation that they mentioned to get them out on bail is enacted federally. That's the simple truth. That's the fact of the matter. And anything stated by this lawyer, this MP, this justice minister is misdirection because it's simply not true. And anybody with a rudimentary a grade 6 understanding of the legal system in Canada knows what I'm saying to be true. So he clearly understands that what he said was a way to try and make people forget that he's responsible for it. His motivation was clearly not to listen to the will of the people. He's talking about he's behind. They're always behind, right? I mean, we needed the CBSA to have the power 4 years ago, and they're just showing up to the door now. We need people to stop having bail, and the people that are giving out the bail work directly for the federal government. And you say to me, they say, well, if the prisons are too full, I don't think that the problem is that the prisons are too full. I think that the individuals who are committing the crimes are not worried about getting arrested. They're out before the paperwork is done. They're released right from the police station. They're released under the guise of DEI or whatever that's called. People are suffering. I find it amazing that the Liberal government gets all bent out of shape when they are confronted, all the while screaming that they're the law body of the people and all of this stuff. That if I've seen a man who needs an anger management course, it's that guy jumping around on the floor of the House of Commons like some sort of crazy man. All right, I'm going to wrap here. I want to thank you all for listening. I'll talk to you next time.